Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to have a panel discussion here. Let me set the table real quick, and then we'll introduce our panelists. Why the customer experience is being won or lost by how you deliver information. The goal here, if we do this right, is it will be a conversation, not one of those, we've all seen the panel, right, where it gets volleyed back to the moderator, everybody's looking at me. You don't need to look at me that much. It could be a hazard to your health in so doing. But what we'll do after we introduce our panelists, I'll ask a kickoff question. You're sitting in the splash zone, so it's going to come to you. And then again, if we do this right, it's a conversation. So as you have ideas and thoughts that you'd like to add to the conversation, we'll do that. If you have the app, the ASOTU app, I will periodically be looking through here. That's also a signal for you. If you see me looking down, I'm not playing solitaire. I'm reading the questions and I'm going to queue them up for you. But I'd encourage you to get the most in participating out of this session, that you take the opportunity to ask a question. Fair? Cool? Okay. We'll start here. Would you introduce yourself, where you're from, and we'll go down the line.
Perfect. My name is Adrian Gonzalez. I'm the general manager at Payne Edinburgh CDJR in South Texas.
Texas. All right, let's go.
Lloyd Steves. I'm the market president, Southeast region for AutoNation.
I'm Amber Starr. I'm vice president of major accounts for iPacket, and I live in Kansas City.
All right. Okay, you ready? We're going to start with something simple. Like, who's your tailor? And I'm just kidding. We have such an abundant access to information these days. Customers can go online. I mean, there's, an increasing number of people using LLMs, right? Large language models. Google, still a thing. Google Business Profile. I mean, Reddit, forums, we've heard. There's so many places to get information. My question is, though, in what is the best way to deliver that information? What information should be delivered? And how does that potentially set precedents for the rest of the experience that customer can expect?
Right. So the ultimate goal is always to obviously sell a car, right? Sell a car, sell a service, bring a customer in. The best way to sell something is not to sell anything at all. Is actually just deliver the information, right? So in my personal opinion, I think we just need to be aware of what's out there. The amount of information that's available to the consumer right now, it is insane. And when we, in the sales department at least, when we become living contradictions on what's out there, we tend to lose trust. So I think trust is a big key in how we deliver information. Well, first, we have to get our whole staff, our managers first, of what is out there. That way we can portray that to our customers a lot better.
So I think one of the things that happens out there in the world today is there's so many pulls at our consumer. We're pulled in 100 different directions. Everything is shiny new object. And when a consumer is researching something about a vehicle, whether it's purchase or service side, they're going to get bombarded with a ton of information from everywhere, and they can find incorrect information on the web as well. So what we need to do, our charge as industry experts, and what they're looking for is a trusted advisor. So the first thing I would say is how does the customer want to communicate? And communicate that way. If it's text, text. If it's a phone call, such and so forth. And then actually spend some time and read what is this customer trying to accomplish, okay? They're giving you a tidbit of information, and now you can go back to them, but it's about simplicity. For me, I want to make the transaction easy. I want to be easy to do business with, and I want to do business the way that the customer wants to do business. So I have to inquire and find that out and communicate on their level the way they want to. The next step is simplicity of information. Instead of them having to go to all these disparate places to find it all in one place and deliver it in a simple, seamless way where they can go to one place, find everything that they need, and now you've become that trusted resource.
From your vantage point.
Yeah, for me, customers do have access to a lot more information these days, but that the problem is that information isn't always accurate. But for example, I still see dealerships using MSRPs that are created from, third-party data instead of verified OEM sources. Also, the reconditioning work that was done to a vehicle is often not put on the websites. So that information, customers are building and piecing together all this documentation, and they come into a dealership feeling very prepared. And then all of a sudden, they realize that the data that they've compiled isn't actually accurate. So they built all their confidence into what we are displaying on the websites. And if it's inaccurate, now we have a trust problem. So for me, my perspective, I think the most important aspect of information delivery is accuracy and consistency. Customers today are not just shopping other dealerships, they're shopping, based upon their buying experience. And that could be from Apple, Amazon, or Revolve. Those companies have trained customers to expect speed, clarity, consistency. So that would be my perspective, is have the information delivery more accurate, consistency, and then delivering it in a way that it removes friction and creates trust very early in the car buying process.
Well, I think you're right, Amber. One of the things that I've always gone by is, again, I like things simple. I want to make it easy and simple, right? So if we deliver the information that's accurate and we connect them with a human that is going to become their trusted advisor, that becomes where they can build a relationship. And at the end of the day, we're connecting humans through a transaction. But it's more than a transaction. That's a car. That's something that's going to impact their entire family's lives. It could be whatever it is. So we have to be able to be cognizant of the fact that information is everywhere. To your point, it's not right. It's not accurate. So how do we rise above that, provide the accurate information, and be completely transparent and keep it simple, keep it in front of that customer? That's what we really have to strive for.
It's interesting. A little while ago, okay, let's get more specific. Maybe 2 years ago, okay, let's get more specific, because I said maybe, and now I'm feeling pressure. 18 months ago, I did search online. How come price on dealer site different than Car Gurus? And there was Reddit forum after Reddit forum after Reddit forum of real car shoppers who just that one question turned them so off. So when you're talking about the accuracy here, and this is not a slight of like a jab in the ribs or anything like that. It's simply to I think put a spear in it of what you guys are talking about resonates with me, that the customer is not doing this every day. They're doing it every day for 70 days, every 5 to 7 years or whatever it is, right? Whatever the number is. But we're in it every day. So from that perspective, right, I love the subject matter by how you deliver information. There's an online element of that, but what is the online to offline element of that? How do we make that consistent as follow through?
I think training is extremely important. Training all throughout, and it definitely has to start from the top. It's a complete culture change, complete culture change. I'm talking from experience. I did a massive shift at the end of last year where, I really, really wanted to retrain my whole sales staff in just doing everything completely merit and transparency, right? The reason it varies in pricing is because of the way our pay plans are with our salespeople are, right? They're all profit driven, right? So what are they going to try to go for? Always profit. I restructured the pay plan of my salespeople. I completely moved them around from just chasing that growth to actually a little bit of volume, a mixture. It's a little complex pay plan. So once I started putting content out there in social media, being transparent about, the extra protections that, a lot of these brokers or people online and the Reddit forums that are like, you don't have to buy that. When you give the customer that option and you build that trust, not only am I a rarity, I'm a profitable CDJR dealer. But so that's very rare. But by being more transparent, we actually saw an increase in our front end grosses, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. By being more transparent, by giving the customer options, and by not, having those tactics that we're used to doing pre-COVID or during COVID, by being more transparent and giving the customer that choice, we ended up becoming a lot more profitable. So transparency is key.
Well, I agree with you there. I think take it a step further. If we don't give the customer the information, they're going to get it somewhere else, and they're not going to come back to us. We have to realize that's a reality. So, I've been in the car business forever. All right. So, when we look at the way we were trained 25 years ago, it was totally different than the environment that we're in right now. The problem is that we have a lot of legacy managers that have been trained in that same mold. And so we have to break that mold. We have to break that and say, yes, let's give them all the information. Let's give everything out there and earn it based on building a relationship and building a rapport with that customer to make them want to do business with us, because we're a human, we're a person just like them, and we're going to take care of them and to all the way through. And the other thing is the accuracy. When we talk about pricing, right? Pricing, we're in an environment now that's getting ready to become a moot point.
Right.
What we price the vehicle for online better be what we sell the car for. And I can share with you a bunch of emails that I've sent out to my team, regarding that. So that kind of helps level the playing field, but it's about the experience that makes the difference. How are you connecting to another client, right? And I think for all of us that have been in the business, we can come up with a handful of people, or if we're really, really good, maybe a whole lot more, that won't buy or do anything with their automotive needs unless they talk to us, because we've earned the right to be their trusted advisor. And that's what we want to aspire to, and that's how we win that customer. We lose the customer when we try to be slick, when we say, oh no, just come in. When we use all those old adages, that's when we lose the customer, because they're completely turned off. We win the customer by being different, by being not the gorilla behind the wall, by being right up front. This is what I am, this is what I can do for you, and this is why you want to do business with me.
Yeah. What I'm hearing you say, and I want to get your thoughts on this, it's a shift in model, right? I bet if we mystery shopped dealerships in this area right now, there's no dealership. Just kidding. If we mystery shop dealers outside of this area somewhere nearby, most of it would be a kind of a gatekeeping, right? What I'm hearing is this gatekeeping nature. That's where we've come from. And what I'm hearing us talk about here is it's advocacy. How do I actually build a relationship of trust and advocate for the customer's perspective? So from your vantage point, what is the best way then to put that information in front of them? How are customers wanting to see it?
Yeah, I agree with Adrian on the training aspect. One thing I encourage our dealer partners is to look at the journey from the website and the in-store experience as one. So it shouldn't be treated as separate. If you're presenting this awesome website and the customer goes into the store and you got a paper packet, like think about that scenario for a customer and what that feels like. It feels very outdated. So I always love, as far as a training best practice and standardizing within our groups, is creating a presentation for the customer. When they come into your store, pull up the packet presentation and you go through those modules. You really build the value of the vehicle. Why did you invest this much work into reconditioning the vehicle? What are the packet and equipment on the MSRP? What classifies a CPO unit? You get an additional warranty document, an additional year of warranty. So all of that really builds a trust in the integrity of your dealership, and as a salesperson, it builds confidence in what you're selling to. So I think that training your team on how to have a foundation and how to present on every vehicle really highlights the integrity of your dealership.
Let's go. Sorry, I saw both of the mics going. Let's go Adrian and then Lloyd.
Well, at the end of the day, it's the dealership that provides the most information is the one that's going to sell the car. To this day, and I mystery shop my store all the time. Last year I did a mystery shop at my store, and it was just an eye-opening. I encourage anyone to mystery shop your stores. I know that when you're in the tower, you listen to what's going on, and they know that you're in the tower, and they're gonna talk, and they're gonna say everything that you want to hear. But
right.
Mystery shop your store and find out. You would be surprised on how many customers inquire online. We spend so much money on advertisement, on posting our best discounts on new cars online, everything. So you can call the BDC department. BDC gets transferred over to a salesperson. So a salesperson can then go to a sales manager, and then the sales manager tells the salesperson, bring them in. Your presence is your, whatever. Your presence is your leverage. What are we doing? It's because a lot of people, they go into such habits of this is the way we've always done it forever, since we were salespeople, and we don't really evolve, and we don't really stop and think, hey, what am I really doing? Oh, can I stop and say, hey, this guy's in another state. can we at least ask where the customer's from? Like, like there's a lot of different scenarios. So at the end of the day, the dealership that provides the most information up front and is the one that has the most transparency is going to ultimately win that customer.
It's about a customized experience for the customer, right? We need to meet them where they are. Okay. And it goes to how we communicate, how we deliver information, but also what that experience looks like, right? If your expectation is that you want a spa-like feel and you're buying a Highline car, well, there probably should be a spa-like feel, right? I mean, you probably deserve that. But that's not to say that if you're buying a Toyota or a domestic that it shouldn't be a good experience either. Like, we need to meet the customer where they are. I don't understand why we went away from go to appointments. We were talking earlier about mobile service. Well, an appointment's an appointment. If I take a new vehicle to your place of business to show you during the day, well, that's convenient for you. I'm meeting you there. That's the same appointment as driving them into the store. And then as far as being transparent with information inside the store and seeing that consistency from online experience into the store, nobody wants to start over. So read your information and be prepared for that customer so that when they do darken your door, they know that they were coming and you're ready for them. If you do that, you even build even more equity in that relationship. And one last thought that I want to share, because I don't want it to escape when it comes to information. I'm not that far removed. I like to sit on desks. I like to appraise cars. I can't help myself. Love the business. And any time that I have someone that's shopping and they're leaving because they need to go see that one other car or whatever else. Well, because we've presented all of the information and we've given them all the recon work and we've been completely transparent with everything, we always make sure to say, well, when you go to that next store, make sure they show you all of these same things. And if they don't, I can't tell you how to feel about that, but this is make sure you're getting all the information. And 9 times out of 10, 90 times out of 100, the phone call comes back, people turn around, they show back up and say, get that car ready, we're coming to get it. Why? Because the experience was different and they didn't have to guess. We gave them everything.
That's part of that advocacy. That's what separates a dealership is whenever you're educating your shoppers on the reconditioning work that was done. If you go to another dealership, make sure that you bring that up. Ask what was done on that vehicle. That's being an advocate as a salesperson. And whenever you're gatekeeping, you're keeping that to yourself. You're not telling the customer about the work that you've done on the car because you might not have done a lot of
the stories I get from the customers that come back are great. Oh, yeah. Because it's like the sales manager's like, what do they need that for? And then the sales manager goes out and says, well, I mean, we did all this stuff, but they never show anything. Well, where's the transparency and how do you build anything from that? So they automatically turn that customer off, again, how they deliver the information and send them right back to us.
There's something here. There's a thread I'm picking up on from, talking to people the way they want to be, presented, right? Advocacy versus gatekeeping. Kind of having all your ducks in a row, but this also makes me think that not all the data is created equal. Like everybody's going to have a specific need. For me, and I'm sure most salespeople in the room or people that would consider themselves a salesperson, not anybody in here. I don't know what's driving our economy. That's frightening. Well, I'm a salesperson, and I'm a laydown. So when I'm shopping for a car, I'm not looking for the same information that I think some other people might be looking for. From your experience, your vantage point, what are some of the pieces of data that might be more important than others? Are there, especially as we're trying to build advocacy? Is it really whether it's leather or black or white or whatever, or is it more finance information? Is it more warranty information? Like what are you seeing from your experience in presenting information to customer?
All right. Well, I mean, one of the things that I do see a lot is customers are wanting more information regarding you'd be surprised. You would think there'd be pricing, better deals.
Right.
But here's the thing. What we have to understand is all of that stuff's online. They're really not they're looking for features. They're looking for virtual walkarounds. They're looking for virtual appointments. They're looking for, introductions to how the process is going to work. And more than anything, how are you going to save them time? Because more times than others, people will pay a little bit more money if you can save them time. Because right now, the way the economy is, time is the most valuable thing right now. There's a lot of people that are working 6-7 days a week, and going out there to a dealership for 2-3 hours is not financially, doesn't make financial sense to them. So time is very important to them.
Yeah, time's a big one. I would say that as far as information goes, you obviously pricing's important. Yeah, all those things are important. They have to have that to make a decision. But deeper than that is finding out, having a real conversation of what's important to you, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, right? And how and why is that important to you, right? Like we're in the car market, right? I'm always in the car market, by the way. I can't help it. But we actually just ordered my wife's next vehicle. So we just went through this, and I asked her to do a mystery shop, and I will tell you that we were imperfect. She didn't get information timely. She didn't get information consistently. There were a few mixed messages that came out. Actually got pictures of the wrong color vehicle, and that happens, right? And no, thankfully it wasn't one of my stores. I made her mystery shop somebody else. But we're going to do that with our store too, to be able to make sure that happens. But what we have to do is find out what's important to the customer and simply deliver it to them.
Yeah, listen to your client, build a relationship with them, get to know them.
Are you saying that in 2026, listen to your customers is where we still are? Okay, I just had to make sure. This kind of brings, what I'm hearing is this concept. We say mystery shop, but really what it is it's an open-minded audit of the communication workflow. Like, how are we actually delivering? Like you said, it's like, just get them in, right? I love that because you're picking up on a friction point that didn't have to be there if we connected the dots between what information does the customer want to see and how are we communicating it to them clearly. I call it BRTing, building relationships of trust. And how do we do that more effectively? By giving them the information. Now, my question, though, to that point is, what kind of training, then, do you advocate for? Is it that your team as a baseline knows the information that is specifically being presented online to customer? Are we telling them, hey, every morning you need to look at this information? Or is there something more to it so that when it comes time to audit, that we can give them some measure of clarity about what they need to improve?
I think something extremely important that you need to go through your whole staff, and a lot of general managers, and they just don't do it. They get in a meeting with their marketing department and they roll with the punches and let's go and move on with life. I think it's extremely important every single month. As soon as I do my marketing strategy, I sit down with my managers, and then I go personally with all my salespeople and I tell them exactly what we're advertising, what we're hitting on, what videos we're about to drop here in the next week or two. Because whenever a customer comes up to them and says, hey, I saw a video that you were advertising X and X and X, I want them to be prepared and saying, oh yeah, of course, not a problem, come on in, instead of, no, I think that was last month.
What'd you say the stock number is?
What is it? Yeah, exactly.
Let me just, can I get your number and I'll go out and touch it and make sure it's here.
Right, exactly. Let me check availability.
Grinds my gears, bro. Okay, sorry.
You're 100% right. So I think making your whole dealership aware of everything that's going on as regarding to the marketing aspect of it, they're going to know right away. If we're dropping a mailer, if we're dropping an email blast, whatever it is, you have to communicate that with them so they're not blindsided, because any little stutter, any little, pause when a customer is asking for that information is going to seem as dishonest to the customer, saying, hey, you're hiding something from me, and the trust level goes down.
We just got done talking about transparency information and being an advocate. Well, that has to happen inside the store too. And what you're talking about, Adrian, is culture building. That you have the same messages we're not gatekeeping information from our teams in the store. I try not to gatekeep information from my teams in the field, general managers, and I expect them to pass that information on to their teams in the stores as well, because we have to be on that same page. You want to be able to make sure that whether it's the porter or the general manager that has an interaction with that customer, that everybody knows what the store culture is about and is a part of that. And when you do that, then you have freedom of information and you have freedom of ideas. So not only do you present a much better customer experience, but you have a much better employee experience, because everybody has a chance to contribute. Everybody has a chance to have a voice in the room, and as they should. Nobody knows how to do their job better than the people that are doing it every day. Okay? Look, I'm a pretty good porter, but I promise you that there's some tight parking spots in some of my stores that I don't want to park in. And they're a whole lot better than I am, and that's good. And they're going to have ideas on how to keep their stuff organized. That's no different from our salespeople, and we have to understand that these people that are young and up and coming in this business have different ideas, have different experiences, have different shopping habits, have different needs, and we have to adjust to that, and we have to give them what they want, and that's what it's all about.
And if I may add to that, how many times, there's a lot of dealers that are here in the conference, but how many times do you get a salesperson that goes in the tower and says, hey, they just brought a sheet from the manufacturer saying they can get a $299 payment on a lease, and it's from the manufacturer. And then the manager looks at it and is like, I don't know how they got to that payment. It's the manufacturer advertising this. So it's not just what we're advertising, it's actually what the manufacturer's advertising. Hey, they don't know the structure and how to get there, so they're shuffling. You can't even get a pencil out in 30 minutes because they're shuffling around all the dealer website on the manufacturer's websites on what money down you need to put, what acquisition fee, everything. And it's not only what we're advertising, but also what is the manufacturer doing on their end and all the co-op money that's going into that.
Hey, to your point, if your managers are knowledgeable about what's going on, they can back into that. Then when that comes up, they know how to handle it and they can handle it quickly.
I love it. As we wind down, I'm going to throw this one to you to kind of kick off, and we're going to get final thoughts this way back to me. The tie a link for me. I mean, your vantage point I'm interested in because you get to look across kind of the breadth of your client partner portfolio. So you're seeing a lot of data. What's the link between clear presentation of information in the way they want, in a transparent way, in a trustworthy advocacy type way, and customer retention? Because that's the coveted. We've talked about repeat and referral customers since the dawn of time, right? What are you seeing as a link there? Is there a link?
Yeah, there's definitely a link. I encourage every dealership to really look into a sales enablement platform. And what that does is it gives all your salespeople the foundation that they need to create that relationship with the client and the trust with the client. And when you start establishing that, you really, like I mentioned before, you create a reputation for your dealership. And in turn, that's going to keep your clients coming back to you because they know that you are a trustworthy partner. They are going to continue to do business with you because you're very transparent and you're an advocate for them. So definitely look into the sales enablement platform. That's going to give that salesperson the resources to know all even off-brand units that are on the lot and be able to access that information from their mobile. If they're out on a test drive, they can easily answer questions. It just makes your team look professional and put together.
Yeah, I agree. It's a direct correlation, absolute direct correlation. So what we're working on and what we continue to work on every day is we want to build the confidence of our sales staff, and nothing builds confidence like having correct information that they can pull up at their fingertips. And the other thing too is that we also have to realize that everybody in the world realizes that we're all human. Okay, so we're not going to be perfect. So it's okay if you say, you know what, I'm not quite sure about the answer for that, but I'll tell you what, I have a tool, we're going to look that up real quick. Now all of a sudden, I've made myself humble before you. I've made myself, vulnerable. I'm a human being, but yet I'm still going to go find that answer. I don't know is an acceptable answer. Let's go find out together. And then, but also, why is that information important? Next thing you know, you've got another obstacle that you can overcome, and you've built even more relationships. So the more structured and the better you are at building the confidence and instilling the culture of care for other people, then that's how you're going to win in making sure you have that customer retention. They're going to continue to come back because they feel good.
100%. And I think more than anything, and letting your customers know that you are available. With the social media platform that's going on right now, I'm going to give you just one example. Literally 3 hours ago, I had a customer message me on one of my social media platforms and says, Adrian, I retired from Stellantis Financial Services 3 years ago, and no general manager has returned my call. It's been 3 days. I just want to order a Ram. I saw your videos. You look like a pretty straight up guy. Here's the bill sheet. Order it. Just give me invoice minus rebates when the Ram gets here, and you got a deal. Literally 45 minutes ago, I placed the order, and we're done. Easy sell. Just like that. Customer confidence. I mean, it's just speed, trust, 100%.
Well, I hope you got value out of this today. I know I sure did. I love being able to connect dots from not just talking about transparency. We do enough talking about it, but actually considering what that looks like in the context of our circumstances is really important. Let's hear it for our panelists. Thanks so much for being here.